I'm here, I'm back. I've had a really hectic start to my year. I was in Mexico, I was in Trinidad, I was in St. Vincent, I was in, where was I? Canada for work, just all over. And work has been really busy. Life has just been crazy, crazy, crazy. Up until this week, I hadn't even read a book since January. And I read so many books in January, and I just kind of fell off. So here I am back. I figured I would jump into things, a nice little reading vlog, which I haven't done in such a long time. But it is Saturday, it's a cozy day here in Brooklyn because it is raining outside. Like, it is actually pouring outside, so there's not much I can do right now. You know, I'm West Indian, and I don't feel like leaving my house in the rain usually. Like, I cancel all my plans for today. So I'm gonna stay home and read. Well, tomorrow is book club, and I have to finish White Sargasso Sea by Rhys. This is a classic, like, Caribbean, West Indian literature that I was supposed to read in secondary school, and that's why it's so beat up, is because it made its way across the sea with me from Barbados to the US. And I'd never read it. And here I am reading it, and I'm just reading the Penguin Student Edition because I had it in secondary school, which is funny to like see all like the footnotes and stuff in here. Yeah, and I'm gonna finish this today for book club, and I have a little bit of a little book haul. I just went to Barnes & Noble because I had a gift card for my birthday back in January I just never used. And do you believe that these two books came up for $70? Like, it's just crazy to me how much books cost. But I got this vegan cookbook by Isa Chandra Moskowitz, and I just was drawn in by the cover. I'm trying to see if I can, you know, cut out animal products from my diet. So I figured I should get a vegan cookbook to inspire me to do so. And then I got Chain Gang All Stars by Nanakwame Adjei-Brenyah. I hope I'm saying that right. But Nanakwame wrote Friday Black, which I haven't read yet. But I was at a book event at PNT Knitwear in Manhattan, and it was with Jessamine Chan, who wrote the School for Good Mothers, and Gia Tolentino from the New Yorker, and they were discussing like the books that are on their list to read. And one of them mentioned, I think it was Gia, mentioned Chain Gang All Stars, and basically this is his debut novel, and basically it's about two top women gladiators fighting for their freedom in a depraved private prison system not so far removed from America's own. And that's kind of the synopsis of this. And so as someone who's like done a lot of reading about prisons and private prisons and abolition and stuff like that, I feel like this piece of fiction would be really interesting for me. Yeah, and it's new, and I figured why not spend my $70 on something that I would not buy otherwise, which is a $27 book. So yeah, this is what I got. I'm gonna go and continue reading White Sargasso Sea. Might do some cleaning up here and there, might do some watching some vlogs, and just having a chill Saturday. Also, I did get a haircut, which I'm actually quite loving. I love the new color, which is just my natural hair color, which I haven't had since 2019. But yeah, this is a new haircut. Just finished White Sargasso Sea by Rhys, and honestly I was bored the entire time. I really didn't know what was going on, and yeah, I just feel like it's supposed to be like this response or prequel to Jane Eyre, which I have not actually read, so maybe that was why. But it's also supposed to be a standalone book, so you're supposed to be able to read this book without ever having read Jane Eyre. But basically it follows Antoinette, who's this white Creole girl living in the Caribbean, specifically Jamaica, and she gets married to Mr. Rochester, and then we follow his perspective, and then it ends with her as an adult locked in the attic. And it's supposed to be like this feminist text, but I just find that like the biggest portion of this book was Mr. Rochester's voice, and I couldn't figure out for the life of me like what I was supposed to gain from that. But I think it has a place in the post-colonial like canon, I guess, in terms of its discussions of like race and slavery and the whole idea of like whiteness as a moving goalpost, in terms of like Antoinette herself being white, but being born in the West Indies, so not feeling like she actually is West Indian, but also not feeling like she's European at all. So yeah, that's kind of how I felt about this book. I just felt like it had some interesting discussions, but overall I was not really impressed and I was quite perplexed throughout it all. But this is my book club book, so we are going to discuss it and we'll see what everybody else thinks. Good morning, it is Sunday, it is book club day. I'm very excited to meet everyone from book club and discuss the book, even though I did not enjoy the book at all. But I'm excited to see what people have to say. I'm gonna make myself some coffee, walk my dog before heading over to the park where we're gonna meet for book club. Monday morning. I'm very excited about the start of the week. I've been working for a little bit, but I'm gonna head now to get coffee with my friend. And it's about a 30-minute walk. I could bike, but I just think I'm gonna walk. And I'm actually gonna start listening to Dyscalculia, which is a memoir, and it just seems like it follows a lot of stuff that I've struggled with. So I feel like I want to read it or I want to listen to it on my walk. It's only a 2-hour long audiobook, which is cool. As I mentioned before, I was listening to Deacon King Kong, and it was kind of difficult because I couldn't follow the narrative, and I was 2 hours into that and I still didn't know what was going on. So I'm going to definitely borrow it from the library and read it. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead on my walk and listen to Dyscalculia. I am back home. I spent some time reading Eating Animals by Johnathan, Safran, Foer. I finished it. I didn't realize it was such a quick read. Like, so much of the pages are citations. But yeah, I finished it and I gave it a 4 stars on Goodreads. I thought it made a really compelling argument. But I had some qualms with the book. Yeah, basically the book makes a compelling argument for vegetarianism because of factory farming and the insidious nature of factory farming, the environmental degradation, the risks to human health, and all these different things. So where my qualms lie in the book, and which I docked it a star, is because it has a part where someone they're interviewing likens factory farming and animal abuse to slavery and genocide. And I really dislike that conflation, and I really dislike the comparison of factory farming and animal abuse, which are terrible things in their own right, to human abuses and slavery. I just think it's just really insensitive, and I don't think we should make those comparisons or try to draw those comparisons. You can talk about how disturbing these things are without saying that they're just like slavery, because they're not. And it's just offensive to a large group of people. So I just didn't like that. And I found that the author didn't seek to unpack that and kind of make a stance on that. So it was just kind of weird. So I don't really know what to read next. I have so many options. I'm actually still currently listening to Dyscalculia, still trying to figure out if I am enjoying it. But it's a quick listen, so I might finish that tonight, and then pick up something else to physically read. So I finished Dyscalculia, and it went by so fast. But basically it was kind of an exploration of a broken relationship, a breakup, and then how mental illness has manifested in this author's life, especially her diagnosis of bipolar disorder and dyscalculia, and which is difficulty with math in the same way that dyslexia can be difficulty with reading and writing. And honestly, it was written in this very interesting poetic style, but I did listen to it, so I didn't have that physical look at what it's on, how it looks in the book. But I thought it was well done. I just felt like it was a bit too short, and I really wanted to get a little bit more insight and a little bit more with the author, with the story. yeah, I just felt like I needed some more because it ended so quickly. Um, but honestly, I was like, she just like me for real. Like so much of her experience feels similar to mine. I would say content warnings for childhood trauma and abuse, but um, other than that, it was pretty solid. I think that the only issue I had with it that it wasn't long enough. Um, and yeah, it was a quick little listen. Hello, I have not updated this vlog, but it is Wednesday now, and I just borrowed Heavy by Kiese Laymon, an American memoir, and I'm gonna listen to it while I make my lunch. I've been working all morning. I went to the gym. It's just been a hectic morning. I'm making some pesto pasta right now, and it's cooking as we speak. And I'm gonna listen to Heavy. All my friends have rated this like 5 stars on Goodreads. It's only a 6-hour audiobook, and I also listen to my audiobooks on 1.5 to 2 speed, so it should be like 3 to 4 hours long for me. So yeah, I'm gonna get through this and see what I feel. It definitely is gonna be heavy. I don't want to use the same word, but my friends have told me it's kind of like a darker memoir. So let's see how this goes. I also love listening to memoirs on audiobooks. Like, I just prefer it listening to the author read their own story as opposed to me reading it. Like, I just really prefer to listen to memoirs. And I think that's my new thing. Like, listening to nonfiction, reading fiction, because when I do listening to fiction, I just cannot do it. So anyway, I'm gonna go finish my lunch and listen to this book. Friends, we have made it to Friday. I have been just kind of all over the place, but I'm about to finish Heavy by Kiese Laymon. I'm listening to it on audio, and I'm about to head to the coffee shop to meet my friend. I'm gonna just finish off the last, it's like literally 8% left on the walk. But listen, this book is so devastating, like emotionally devastating, and just the writing is like so good, but it's just so like the author is being so vulnerable in this piece, and it's just honestly like can't believe somebody could write this good type of thing. So yeah, I'm gonna finish that. I'm also heading to Weeksville Heritage Center, which is a museum here in my neighborhood, and basically it's the site of the first free, or not the first, but a free Black community before the Civil War, right here in Brooklyn. I don't know much else, but I'm gonna tour the site today. Your girl is back from her excursion. I finished Heavy by Kiese Laymon, and I absolutely loved it. One of the best memoirs I've ever read. So poignant, so deeply vulnerable and heartbreaking, and just devastating and emotional and raw, and just so many different threads happening within that novel, within that book, that memoir. Basically, Kiese is a Black Southern writer. This memoir spans 25 years. He talks about his childhood. He kind of talks about his abuse that he faced by the hands of his mother, what it meant to grow up as a Black fat boy in the South, the heaviness of that. And it's like there's sexual experiences and coming of age, and there's also like his experience working in academia as a professor. And just like a big chunk of this is his relationship with his mother. And I think that was really hard to listen to. But also he talks about the violence of the United States and how this connects with his experience in the home. And there's so many threads going on in this book. And I think that's what is really interesting about it. And I think that this is one of the memoirs that just feels so powerful. And you think to yourself, how can someone write like this? It's just so heartbreaking. So yeah, I finished it. I also went to Weeksville. Just if you live in Brooklyn, you're ever in New York, Weeksville is one of the first Black communities in the country, one of the first free Black communities in the country, and I went to the center, the Weeksville Heritage Center, and I went into these 18th and 19th century homes, saw how the people who were free lived, and just learned a lot about this history of this community right here in my neighborhood of Crown Heights, Brooklyn. Long day. I think I'm gonna wrap up the vlog here, but thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for liming with me. Stay good, stay irie.